speaking of that Mahomes, Mystique, Kansas City, it reminds me of a team that I used to play for, the New England Patriots, and what they were able to do.
That's dead. You didn't like the dynasty. Dynasty's dead. No reminding of Patriots. Like, nobody wants to talk Patriots.
Hey, it's okay. I know you want to ride the Kansas City train because you were all over the Netflix quarterback series of this Kansas City Chiefs team. They had your voice and people were tweeting you like, "Oh boy, was he wrong?" So I get it. You don't want to go down this road. But
I need my residuals for my appearance on there too. My voice was on there a few times, so I need a little bit more money from that. I gave them motivation too.
I'm talking about the Patriots because that's what we're about to jump into next. The Patriots are one of the few teams that got a new coach that started this week. The Patriots, the Panthers, the Titans, the Seahawks all began offseason workouts this week, starting off on Monday. But I thought the interesting thing was the Patriots, because obviously you lose Coach Belichick and he moves on. Yeah. And now all eyes are on you. And everybody was like, all right, this offseason is about to be crazy. We're going to do all of these non-Belichick things. Mayo comes out and he's like, we're going to burn money, baby. And it was like, whoa, like, what's about to happen? And all they do is they just retain player after player after player from the previous regime, which made fans say, yo, we're 4-13. We don't want those 4-13 guys. But what I thought was interesting, my time being in New England, all I used to hear was you build through the draft. You draft your core players and they stay and they become the guys who take your franchise on. And it was very awesome for me to go into that franchise behind the Teddy Bruschi's, behind the Ty Laws, behind the Willie McGinnises, the Richard Seymours, the Tom Brady's, even though I played with Tom Brady, the Logan Mankins, the Vince Wilforks, like all of these guys, when you got there, you were like, man, I want to be like them. So I thought this was a piece of that. It was, hey, Michael Onwenu, he showed out to be a good guard and a really good tackle. And we think his best position might just be staying at right tackle. We're going to pay him. Kyle Duggar's a guy that we got. He showed to be a stud. He's made splash plays. He's continuing to grow. We're going to invest in him. We're going to invest in Josh Uche. We're going to invest in Anthony Jennings. We're going to decide that, hey, we're not going to have these classes that we draft, and then 3 or 4 years later, the whole class is gone. And that happened a few years in a row. And we were talking last night, let's give Coach Belichick, let's give Bill his flowers, because these guys that they have retained, they are Bill Belichick's draft picks. The guy that everyone says can't draft, these are the guys that they're keeping. So for us to really give him his flowers, these guys need to make sure they go and produce now that they didn't keep him for no reason. But I think it was an interesting strategy of, if we're going to build this thing back up the way we want it to be, the way that we've done it in years past, it has to be through the draft. We tried 2021. We went out there, we broke records, we spent all of this money, and 2 years later, we were not in the playoffs. Another year later, we were one of the worst teams in NFL. Like, we're done with that. We're not moving in that direction. So it's felt like Jerod Mayo and Elliott Wolf have come together and said, hey, this is who we are. Take it or leave it. We're not going to adapt and change and do something that won't win us games. We're going to be who we are.
And I think those are the question marks that you're saying. Like, all right, you kept some of your homegrown talent. Is different than your version of the Patriots or the version of the Patriots that came before you, because when you were keeping your homegrown talent, you were keeping guys that had you in AFC Championship games, that had you in Super Bowls, that were returning after already winning Super Bowls and having their rings and being a part of ring ceremonies and parades and all of those things. The guys that they're bringing back now, really good players, and Big Mike and Duggar, those guys haven't been able to realize the success that some of you guys saw. So from a fan's perspective, they're looking at it like, all right, well, this is great. We're paying these guys. They're going to help us win. But do we have enough to win? Because to your point, like, these picks have hit, but then there's the guys that before, the N'Keal Harry's, the Jawan Williams, the Chase Winovich, those guys who didn't get second contract with the Patriots, that you look at and say, well, when these younger guys came in, you didn't have those guys to show them the way, that all the players that you just mentioned were there to show you the ropes. So I look at them, and I talked about this on Good Morning Football, where Mayo gets there and he says, we're going to burn through cash. And it's like that young kid, you're in your early 20s and you're sitting there, and for years you've heard dad just continue to preach these things to you. And all you're thinking about is like, Dad, I hear you. But when I get out on my own, I'm getting bottle service. I'm at the club. I'm going on vacation. I am going to live it up. And then as soon as you buy your own apartment and you get that first, you see what the first month's rent is and security, you're like, wait, I got to pay all of this right now. Then the utility bill hits, and then you got a car note, insurance. You're just like, damn, man, I got to slow down, man. I got a date this week, and I thought we were going to Ruth Chris, but we're going to have to pull up and maybe hit like Kava and just grab a quick bite to eat and just have a great conversation. I want her to get to know me. And that's what it felt like for the Patriots. Like, all right, free agency started, you're going to go out and get all of these guys. And yes, they got KJ Osborne, they got Antonio Gibson, they signed some of their guys, Kendrick Bourne, guys of that nature, but it wasn't this huge upgrade. And I think some of it is you got to figure out who's going to be your quarterback. I would assume with the number 3 pick is going to be either Drake May or Jaden Daniels that they decide to invest in, unless we see something crazy happen on draft day, because none else matters. And I think Jacoby Brissett is a perfect guy for them to come in and help be a leader in that room. We watched how he handled himself in Cleveland there. I was with him when he was a backup to Tua in Miami where he had to play. And then we saw glimpses when he actually played in Washington last year where they were putting up points and the team was moving better than when Sam Howell was in there. So I look at the Patriots. I still think they're going to be the worst team in the division. There's still a lot to be desired from them, but you bring in Jerod Mayo. Mayo brings in his own set of coaches. I think there's a youth movement going on there from a coaching staff. There's a ton of energy. And now, to your point, it's about building for the future. Fans, how patient they're going to be, how patient Kraft's going to be, those are the questions.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things is because I love talking Patriots, right? I got my helmet in the background, but what I've learned in TV and media stuff is when a team wins 4 games, you could give them a quick segment, but we can't stay too long.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.